Hey, welcome to another episode of Adz N Maria Orr. This evening I just wanted to talk, good morning. It is funny. I wanted to talk about trauma, and I kept thinking for the past couple of years how affected I was by certain situations or circumstances that occurred in life and my coping mechanism. And one thing that I find definitely that can jeopardize the healing process is who you take time to confide in. And as I go through my thought processes during the times of trauma and the aftermath of it, directly after, when you start identifying, okay, this is what's happening, and how to go about dealing with the situation, the coping mechanisms, like I said, and the road to healing, and how certain people you would confide in or tell the situation to. Some of them had great input and was very supportive. Others was extremely judgmental, and they didn't realize that the lack of support came with comments or reactions or behaviors, and it actually can make the trauma worse. If you're the type of person that do not care, then it would probably be easier. But if you're the person that actually is very caring and trusting and giving and just full of all the kindness and most loving individual out there, it could be damaging to you. And you have to realize that. You have to know when to say, okay, sometimes some trauma, I need to take it to, and if you're spiritual like I am, it's best to talk to God about it, and He can work it out. He can work it out, and definitely He will not repeat things to you or say things to you, because it'll be your secret. It's safer with Him than with anyone else. And the reason why I say that is, recently there was some things that was going on, and I took the time out to confide in certain individuals, and it was crazy, the responses. And even as adults, you'd think, okay, we're all mature, we all we all have our own lives, we are all doing our own things, and you'd think people would be more understanding. No, they're not. They're just not. And it's crazy, because I try to treat people the way that I would like to be treated, and you don't always get that. You do not always get that. And I'm talking about in all aspects of life, whether you're in college, whether you're in the workplace, whether in your home. It doesn't matter. You tend to have to deal with certain situations and behaviors, and it does affect you sometimes. But what I've realized and come to understand, like I said, is when you come across situations, whether it be in the workplace or home or, with friendships, it's just best to just keep it to yourself. Because people have a tendency of reminding you of your trauma. Instead of moving forward, they constantly keep nailing it on the head. And it can affect your healing process. It can affect your journey of where you're trying to head in your goals. It can distract you. And one thing you don't want to do is be distracted and be thrown off course. So you have to be extremely careful. So just think about what I'm saying. If you're going through trauma, who's sitting at the table with you? Who's listening? Who's really there for you? And when you're trying to get out of that trauma and moving forward based on the decision or choices you made, who is still sitting at the table with you? Who's still supporting you? Look around and remember that. And who's saying what to you? You have to remember those things. Because, traumas, It doesn't mean like it's one and done. Sometimes it can happen over and over again. Sometimes it could be a different circumstance. But the key thing to remember is, how are you going to deal with it? And how are you going to heal from it? Because there is a huge difference, and I found that out recently. There's trauma consumed, and there's trauma informed. When you're informed about your trauma, you experience it, you know how to deal with it, and you know the route you need to take in order to heal. But when you're trauma consumed, every time something happens or that trauma occurred, you're just stuck in that phase, and you just remember everything about that trauma, and you're not trying to move forward. Remember, every circumstance is sometimes different, right? So you have to have a fresh eye on the situation. You can't keep thinking about the trauma. Yes, you learn from your experiences, but you have to be sensible enough to know that, you cannot be so consumed that it's detrimental to all the relationships around you and everything. It will consume your entire life. It will consume your mindset. It will consume your behaviors, because everything is just trauma focused. And it's not a healthy way to be. So just keep that in mind. And remember, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And there's no better counselor than the Lord Almighty, or Jesus Christ. So trust in Him. At least what I've known and what I've come to understand is, it's not going to get repeated. It's not going to be used against you. You wouldn't get blackmailed. So if you've done something wrong, you repent. But if you just want to talk about something, you can just say, hey, I'm just letting my Lord know this is my situation and I want to heal. But don't be trauma consumed. Try to be trauma informed versus trauma consumed. I hope you enjoyed this short podcast, and hope you tune in next time. Have a great day, rest of your day.